So, welcome to yet another episode of the Rumble. And today I have with me somebody, a lot of people would like to be in her place. She's a documentary filmmaker and probably a feature filmmaker too, which I don't know about. We'll find out as we go along. Her name is Elka Sinha. Now, Elka is a kind of rare name, some kind of Teutonic connection. And yes, she says she was born in Germany, and so that's how the Elka came into it. But from many years ago, she's been in Chennai, which is why we came to know about her. So she's here with me, and we'll just find out about what all she's up to and what's the latest documentary. So welcome to the show, Elka.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start from the very beginning, which is the right place to start, which is how on earth did you land up in Chennai?
Well, I'm third generation Bengali from my mother's side, really. And my grandfather, again, he came down to Chennai in the 40s to work with the Gemini studios.
Pre-independence.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. It was, I believe, bombing back then in Calcutta. And that's when they all moved here. But basically to work in the films here in Madras.
I see. So what was he doing? What was he?
He was a cinematographer. And
what was his name?
Kamal Ghosh.
Okay, done a lot of work in South Indian films?
He did. In fact, one of his greatest achievements was Chandralekha.
Okay.
You know, with this whole drum dance and SS Vasan, that huge
everybody has seen that
project.
Definitely.
Everyone has, and it's considered to be one of the greats of cinema. And they took 2 years to shoot that, just to shoot the movie back here in Gemini Studios.
Those days when it was at Gemini, where it is now only a flyover.
Yes, and the Park Hotel now.
Yes,
that was the area.
Yes. They used to have a big doorway, archway right in the corner there. It says Gemini Studio with those twins.
Right.
And then it just disappeared.
Yes, unfortunately, I think by the 60s it was no longer there. I don't know.
So from there, your parents and then of course you now all live here, born here.
My mother
you said you were born
here.
elsewhere.
Yeah, my mom was here since then. She's done her entire schooling and college here in Madras.
Okay.
And
what took them to Germany?
She got married to my father, who was living in Germany at that time.
And what was he doing?
He's an engineer.
All right. Nothing to do with with cinema.
No. In fact, my own grandfather actually didn't encourage his own children to get into movies.
He had some secret reason for it?
I think, it wasn't a very stable job. I mean, when you had your job and you're successful, you had the money coming in. But then once, you're kind of you have a couple of flops, or it's a gamble.
Yeah.
It wasn't
and like you said, his
income.
own movie took 2 years to complete, so he must have thought, I don't want my kids exposed to this kind of.
Yeah, it was very uncertain. You didn't have television, you didn't have any other avenues of generating income.
That's true.
So you had those producers who you worked for.
But they were professional producers those days, from what I understand.
And that's why he actually stayed on in Madras. He never went to Bombay or even Calcutta.
Okay.
He never worked there because he felt this is, he had found his niche here. People had a lot of respect for him, and he also identified with the culture, and people are honest.
And where did you study?
Partly in Germany, partly here in Madras.
And here in Madras, where did you?
I was in St. Michael's and then in
Adyar.
Adyar, yes.
Right.
I'm a total South Madrasi.
This is the only people who come from outside refer to South Madras and North Madras as like the Adyar River forms the boundary between North and South.
Well, I think there is a distinction there, yes. I think it's very perceivable, yes.
You think the South Chennai guys are more cool?
I don't know, they're more very, very traditional in the sense of we are more into the Brahmin culture is very, very prominent there.
In the
south of Chennai, you have Kalakshetra, for instance. You have a lot of dancers, musicians, this, that.
And you have names like Shastri Nagar and all that give away.
Yeah. It's very, and everyone is always going to the temple, which is very nice. And,
that's true.
It has its own culture.
Does it still happen?
Very much. Even my local temple in the neighborhood, you have a lot of
people coming in,
and there's a lot of music as well. Performances. You had Krishna come in and sing. That whole culture is still very much there, and everyone is there in their fineries. You have them wear you know, the
Well, I guess
silks.
South Madras would be almost like the part of the city that borders the north bank of the river. Also, I mean that's also an honorary South citizen. I don't think it's.
I think it stretches, yeah, T Nagar, Mylapore, Adyar, and maybe a little up to Tiruvamur.
That's South.
That's. I mean,
So
that's
not
the
really.
kind.
Yeah, that's not really the Adyar River being the boundary,
Yeah.
but that whole stretch of land.
That whole stretch of land. That's.
Okay. So you, I know you're a documentary filmmaker, as we said in the beginning. Was that a conscious thing that you always wanted to be one, or you wanted to be a movie maker?
Yeah, I mean, documentary filmmaking it's easier for one. I mean, you are in control of things much more than in a feature film. I've actually worked on a feature film as an AD as well.
Okay.
But yeah, if you are in a commercial establishment, you really don't have much of creative control per se.
Okay.
You have to cater to a whole lot of things, and your voice sometimes gets drowned. I mean, not. You have very few
Yeah,
filmmakers.
your audience is known, so you got
Yeah.
to cater to them.
You have to, yeah, and also in Chennai, as a woman filmmaker, it's quite difficult to actually break out. Whereas, see, even somebody like Revati, when she wants to make her own film, she goes to Bombay. I mean, she makes My Mitra, My Friend, and this
Yes.
other movie, Tere Liye,
Yes.
and all these other films. Where, you know,
You mean
ask
they don't
her-
encourage them here, or is it there's a
Yeah,
glass
I
ceiling?
think there's a hierarchy, and there's a very strong hierarchy in the Tamil industry. I mean, you
Okay.
know, you call them sir, you know, the director is sir. Whereas in Bombay, I can just pat my director on the back.
Well,
And
they'll call them G.
Chi-
What's the difference?
No, we are kind of cool. I mean, you
Yeah?
are so you are
You don't
Anurag.
say
and
Subhash G.
No. But
Hey,
may-
Subhash, will they do that? To
They
Subhash,
actually
the
do.
guy?
I
Yes?
think that maybe he's still old school, but then
Yeah.
you see the new generation is pretty cool. You have a voice there. You can connect.
Okay.
Whereas here, unfortunately, even local Tamil filmmakers are not able to break out. You don't even have an alternative cinema here, and women really don't want to do this.
So where does
crass
alternative
comedy-
cinema exist in India?
Sorry.
Where does alternative cinema exist in India?
There is alternative. There's a lot of things happening out there. Obviously, with the digital revolution, you have D7s and D5s cameras right here. There is a lot of experimentation happening.
Maybe there's alternatives to cinema, but I
Yeah.
don't know about alternate cinema itself. I don't see anything happening anywhere else.
See, a film like Ship of Theseus, for instance, shot
Okay.
entirely on D7, D5.
Yeah. No,
If
apart
that
from,
gets-
apart from the technological part of it.
No, it's
if
helped
a
us.
different
It's
type
kind of empowered filmmakers like us, because equipment is so expensive. If I were to shoot on film 16 mm, I can't afford it.
All right, folks. So you heard. It's not really a gripe from her, just stating a fact that that's the way it is when you make a feature film. So when we come back, we'll find out. So what is the way she beat the system?